Well, here we are. I'm sitting here in my living room, my home office, if that's what you want to call it. And I just figured I'd sit back and I'd share my story with you. Uh, it all started, back in 1988 when I was in a bad motorcycle accident. Uh, it damaged my left knee, it broke my collarbone, had three ruptured discs in my back. But the hardest part was the trauma I suffered to my abdomen, and I literally became a type 1 diabetic overnight. And back in those days, the education wasn't greatest, being that I was only 19 years of age. You know, I was indestructible, so uh, between lack of good education and the indestructible mindset at 19 years of age, I didn't manage my diabetes well in the beginning, and it's not called the silent killer for no reason. Over the course of the next 5, 6 years, I guess you could say, um, it slowly started doing damage to my body that I never even knew about. And then overnight, it seemed I dropped 75 pounds. I started to lose feeling. It started in my lower legs and it slowly spread up to now where I have no feeling from the waist down. I started having problems with my kidneys. I went in and I starting having laser treatments on my eyes because I was getting these, I guess what they call bleeders in the eye, weak blood vessels that the eye was creating because it wanted more blood flow, rich oxygen aided blood flow into the eyes. And diabetes, it's not providing that if you're not managing your diabetes well, because there's a lot of sugar in that blood that gets into your eyes. Anyways, it caused a lot of damage, and I eventually lost my eyesight. And within 3 months of that, I also lost my kidney function. I ended up on dialysis. um, Luckily for me, I was able to go through a transplant, a double transplant is that. I ended up with a new kidney, a new pancreas, and I was diabetic free once again. Unfortunately, the damage to my body never changed. Um, I also was on a new regimen of medications, one of them being prednisone, and you know, as much as it's required to keep my body from rejecting the new organs, it's you know, as I've discovered over time, it's done a lot of damage to my body as well. Um, as a result, I started looking into natural, healthy alternatives to medication, or at least a way to what's the word, offset the negative side effects that the meds I was on were doing to my body. And you know, my journey has led down a couple of different roads. I don't know if you all remember back in the early 2000s, but a company called Zango came out with a health product called Zango Juice. And when I discovered the company, it was 2009, I believe it was. And I used the product for a while, um, and it helped restore. I want to say help restore some of my eyesight because it didn't restore the eyesight. It helped my body heal from some of the damage. And in return, some of that damage was in my eyes, and I got a little bit of eyesight back. And, that was great. But my journey continued, and here we are. It's 2026, and, I've stumbled across another company, come across it back in 2025, the end of 2025, Halloween actually. because I was in search of some more Zango juice, and because that company just it disappeared. Anyway, I got in touch, was put in touch with someone that I knew from my past, and they introduced me to a new company and a whole new line of products. And now here we are, 2 months later. Um, the swelling in my legs is gone. The chronic joint pain in my knees, my hips, my hands, my elbows, my shoulders, my low back, it's all gone. Um, what else is there to say? Oh, yeah, I guess my eyesight. Um, that's the biggest improvement. I still don't have any usable eyesight, but the amount of daylight, I guess you could say, I can see has gone from a little wee postage stamp to, I want to say, about 145 degrees worth of vision across my face now. I've gone from a little wee area like this up here to a big area like that. And it's just outstanding what it has done for me, because I can tell the difference at a glance now when it's daytime out, when it's nighttime out, and it's helped regulate my sleep patterns. Something that I used to suffer from greatly. I mean, like, I could be wide awake at 3 o'clock in the morning and fall asleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because my internal clock had been turned around. Uh, Now I'm back on regular sleep, which is doing me well. Um, the transplant that I had, my pancreas finally kicked out on me about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, and I was back on insulin and stuff like that. Now this product that I started taking again, it has done great things for my body. It's allowed me to um, maintain my sugars much better, a lot better, more controlled. There's no more spikes up and down at meal times and in between meal times. It's more like a gentle wave now for those of us that are diabetics and know what I'm talking about. It's helped me establish much better control. And, you know, I can give you an example with my average sugar sitting there, somewhere between 5 and 6 all the time. At meal times, it doesn't get above 9 anymore, and it doesn't dip below 4. Very rarely does it dip below 4. So that's what I've been experiencing over the last, not quite 2 months, a month and a half. Anyway, that's my story, and I just thought I'd like to share it with everybody. So I'm going to try and post these, if not every day, every other day, maybe once a week. And I look forward to, hearing from anybody soon. Bye for now.